Ladies and gentlemen, Behind the Line proudly presents to you the second annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, where we recognize and honor the biggest failures of 2024 by presenting the winner with the coveted prize of the polished turd. Last year, our former fearless leader Johnny B. Biden shocked the world by dethroning the reigning, defending champion, the originator of the term huge embarrassing failure, Bomani Jones. There were so many failures in 2024 that Johnny B. Biden was overlooked in the nomination process. Our former fearless leader failed so epically this year, he was not even nominated to defend his own crown. But we do have 7 embarrassing failures fighting for their right to take home the prestigious turd. Without further ado, let's introduce the nominees. Our first embarrassing failure of 2024 is the former head coach of the New Orleans Saints, Dennis Allen. Not only is Denise known for his embarrassing failure, with a career record of 26-53, Denise Allen is also known as the worst head coach in the history of the NFL. Throughout his brief tenure in New Orleans, Denise was considered a wizard behind the microphone. He had this unique ability to say what absolutely no one else was thinking. After Andy Dalton threw 2 pick sixes in the first half against the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football, Denise famously told the object of his devotion to keep doing what you're doing. Ironically enough, Dennis Allen started the 2024 season of failure by preaching a message of inspiration to all aspiring failures.
Sometimes you just gotta pop out and show them.
And that is exactly what Dennis Allen did this season. He popped out and showed everyone he's a huge embarrassing failure. After starting the season 2-0 in what is now being described as the ultimate illusion, Denise invited the city of New Orleans along for a ride on the Bruce Caboose, where the Saints proceeded to lose 7 consecutive games. With the Saints now considered to be one of the worst teams in the league, and with the head coaching position in New Orleans labeled the least attractive job in professional sports, Denise Allen finally came to the conclusion that his job was done. He had successfully destroyed a second NFL franchise. Within less than 3 years, he successfully destroyed a culture that it took Sean Payton and Drew Brees 15 years to build. After another embarrassing loss in Week 9, Dennis Allen was finally fired by the New Orleans Saints. The level of failure this bum achieved is indescribable. Denise Allen is so much of a failure, he failed to gain a single percentage point in votes in an award ceremony that is dedicated to recognizing embarrassing failures. I know I speak for all of New Orleans when I say we hope to never see this flaming ass fire ever again. And while you're at it, take that secondary bum Willie Green with you. Our next nominee is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is the prime example of that old saying, pride comes before the failure. During the 1990s, under the competent leadership of Jimmy Johnson, the Dallas Cowboys built a dynasty that dominated the NFL. Since the departure of Jimmy Johnson and their Super Bowl under Barry Switzer with the team that Jimmy built, the Dallas Cowboys have amassed a playoff record of 5-13. Going into the 2024 season, and this is the reason that Jerry Jones was nominated for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. Going into the season, Jerry Jones was faced with an easy decision. Do I re-sign Dak Prescott, the brother in choke to Kirk Cousins, the very definition of mediocrity, a quarterback who has never and will never take you to a conference championship game, much less a Super Bowl? Do I re-sign a quarterback who dominates bad teams but rarely beats quality opponents? Or do I let him walk at the end of the season and search for a real quarterback who can actually win games that matter? Not only does Jerry Jones make the wrong decision by re-signing Dak Prescott, he then doubles down on the stupidity by making Dak Prescott the highest paid player in the history of the NFL. Once again, the Cowboys were an unmitigated disaster, going 3-5 with Dak Prescott patting the center's ass 45 times a game. After losing mediocrity for the season last month against the Falcons, the Cowboys have experienced a bit of a resurgence, going 4-3 3 with Cooper Rush, where the Cowboys are actually finding ways to beat playoff teams with winning records. But that unexpected resurgence, that does not erase the fact that the incompetence of Jerry Jones has tanked the future of the franchise, where the Cowboys will be forced into 4 more years of mediocrity with Dak Prescott. Our third embarrassing failure of 2024, Adam Silver in the NBA. Not only is Alice described as a huge embarrassing failure, he also has the distinction of being the worst commissioner in sports. Oftentimes, organizations adopt the characteristics of their leaders, and the NBA has damn sure adopted the traits of Alice Silver. NBA players are often described as soft, weak, lacking masculinity. Adam Silver has been criticized with removing physicality and defense from the NBA, turning the league into a watered-down three-point shooting contest. As a result, the NBA has lost half its audience in the last 10 years, with ratings down 28% going into 2025. Under the failed leadership of Adam Silver, the All-Star Game has turned into an annual disaster. What was once considered to be one of the greatest weekends in sports has turned into an event where members of the mainstream media are begging for the weekend off. Adam Silver's also been criticized for giving far too much power to NBA players. The NBA is the only organization in America where the employees have more power than the employers. The people signing the back of the check are telling the people signing the front of the check that they don't feel like showing up to work. I'm sorry, boss. I don't feel like playing today. I have a painful case of the Bruce Caboose and I ran out of my supersized tube of Preparation H. For reasons unknown, NBA owners, which many mistakenly call players, NBA owners, they decided to give Adam Silver an unearned 10-year contract extension, which guarantees that Adam Silver in the NBA will be nominated for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards every year for the next decade. Our fourth embarrassing failure of 2024, it's one of the favorites here on the channel, the Yentas on The View. It should go without saying as to why the Yentas were nominated for the second annual HEF Awards. Any show that features a flatulating whoopee cushion as its host, responsible for releasing toxic boodle breeds that reach Category 5 wins, that show should automatically be nominated every year. There are rumors that there could be massive changes with the Yentas in 2025. Over the last few weeks, Yentas like my personal favorite son, Hostin, Asuncion, they have been forced by producers to read what they're calling legal notes live on the air. Apparently, producers at ABC, they are concerned about the level of propaganda on The View and how that propaganda could lead to potential lawsuits. Now, of course, normal people are hoping that the Yentas continue to propagandize in the hopes that this ultimate turd of polished turds gets thrown off the air. Lately, the Whoopee Cushion and the Great Pretender Alyssa the Farrah Griffin, they have attempted to be the voices of reason in Club Yenta. They have tried to set a better example for lonely women, but their attempts have been clouded by the toxic mouth farts of son Hostin and the lady that's married to the Pepperidge Farm guy. Will this sudden shift amongst the Yentas, which has caused noticeable tension on the set of Lonely Women, will that sudden shift be enough to prevent The View from winning the second annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards? We will find out momentarily, but let's get to our fifth failure, the WNBA dump. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, how could the WNBA be nominated for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards? The dump was a huge success this season. Yeah, well, for starters, you guys send in the nominations. I am just your humble host. But on the surface, yes, it would appear that the WNBA was a resounding success this past season. The dump stumbled upon a once-in-a-lifetime star in Caitlin Clark, who set ratings and attendance records. Caitlin Clark managed to convince millions of people to watch pretend basketball. But KC, Caitlin Clark should not get all the credit. What about Angel Reese? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Angel Reese definitely deserves credit for the WNBA being nominated for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. Angel Reese continued the long-standing tradition in the WNBA of not drawing crowds. Outside of games featuring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese and the rest of the dump struggled to give away tickets to the bleachers in high school gyms. Now, although the mainstream media would like you to believe that the WNBA was a success this season, the people responsible for keeping this charity from going bankrupt, NBA owners, they tell a completely different story. Ratings and attendance. That was not the only records that were set in the dump this past season. The WNBA also set financial records by losing $40 million, which is quadruple the amount this dump normally loses in the average season of pretend basketball. It's also why the WNBA was one of the heavy favorites to win the second annual HEF Awards. Our sixth nominee has been mysteriously missing since early November, Cackling Kam Harris. Cackling Kam has a long history of embarrassing failure. Throughout her tenure as border czar, Kam Harris gave criminals all over the world free tickets to the Butt Bongo Festival. Kam was partially responsible for skyrocketing inflation. Under the leadership of Kam Harris, struggling American families, they were buying used diapers because fresh diapers were far too expensive. Wages stagnated under the administration of Kamie B. Biden. In some cases, wages actually declined. What Kam Harris couldn't seem to understand, the more workers you allow into the country illegally, the lower salaries tend to go. I mean, why would companies hire Sam from Sheboygan, Wisconsin and pay him $30 an hour when they could hire Gomez from Guatemala and pay him 30 pesos per day? Kam Harris isn't only known for her failed policies, she's also known for being an embarrassing failure behind the microphone. Let's take a look at some classic moments, some classic memories from the former pretend vice president.
I grew up understanding the children of the community are the children of the community.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right, and that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
Of course, Kam and her supporters were emotionally triggered and devastated when she was defeated in the election in a landslide by Donald Trump. But like I told you guys after the election, Cackling Kam Harris, she was not the biggest loser. The biggest loser coming out of the election, it was our final nominee for the 2024 HEF Awards, the woke media. 2024 was the year that lies and propaganda finally caught up to the mainstream media. The illusion of Russian collusion, the fallacy surrounding the competence of Johnny B. Biden, and perhaps the biggest lie of them all, the lie that Cackling Kam Harris would be our next president. 2024 was the year that millions of naive wanker spankers, along with parishioners at Woke United Methodist, finally realized that the mainstream media was full of shit. Ratings at CNN and MSNBC have declined double digits. CNN is now seeing declines on top of decline. Rachel Maddow, who was once the most watched host in primetime cable news, has lost nearly 1 million viewers. The Wicked Weave Joy Reid has consistently failed to eclipse 1 million viewers since the election. Now, viewers were not the only thing that Joy Reid lost in 2024. She also lost her hair, as crashing ratings have trimmed the budget for weaves at MSNBC. Initially, the media was blaming viewer fatigue and claiming that their audience of sore losers was tuning out of the news altogether. But we are 2 months into these ratings declines, and they don't seem to be letting up. There are rumors of massive layoffs at both networks. Rachel Maddow was forced to accept a $5 million pay cut, and Joy Reid is facing the decision of a reduction in her woke welfare or unemployment. A business that used to print money is barely printing pesos, and it couldn't have happened to a better group of people. Now, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. It is time to announce the winner of the second annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. Matter of fact, in honor of this moment, let's all grab our woke cats. All right. Who will dethrone our defending champion, Johnny B. Biden? A man so synonymous with embarrassing failure, he failed to be nominated to defend his title. Who was the biggest failure in 2024? Was it Adam Silver in the NBA? Was it the dump divers in the WNBA? Was it Jerry Jones, Denise Allen, the Yentas on The View, Cackling Kam Harris, the woke media? There were so many embarrassing failures in 2024, the options were endless. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2024 Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, receiving 45% of your votes in the most tightly contested race in the history of this prestigious ceremony. The failure taking home the coveted prize of the polished turd is the woke media. You know, at least the media won something this year. They might have been the biggest loser coming out of the presidential election, but at least they were the biggest winner at the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. As far as the rest of the nominees go, Kam Harris came in second place with 32% of your votes. The Yentas came in third place, 12%. WNBA, NBA, they had 4% each. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys had 2%, and Dennis Allen had 0%. I hope you guys enjoyed the second edition of the HEF Awards this year. Hopefully, we were able to top last year's edition. We're definitely going to do this again next year. We will be back next year for the third annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. Even though this video takes a lot of time to put together, I look at the HEF Awards every year as my personal gift to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed putting it together. I appreciate your support this year. 2024 was another record year for the channel. Hopefully, 2025 will be the fourth consecutive year of record growth. Have a safe and happy new year. I will see you guys in 2025.